Act 1.
I bite my thumb at thee. Oh my glee.
What sadness lengthens Romeo's hours?
Not having which having makes them short.
In love?
Out
Of love?
out of her favor, while I am in love.
I can only repeat what I've said before. My daughter is still very young. She's not even 14 years old. Let's wait 2 more summers before we start thinking she's ready to get married.
Girls younger than she often marry and become happy mothers. Why, Romeo, art thou mad?
Not mad, but bound more than a madman is. Shut up in prison, kept without my food, whipped and tormented, and good fellow.
Ibe?
In this scene, Romeo meets Peter, where Peter asks where the houses for the guests are located, and Romeo finds out that his love, Rosaline, will be going to the Capulet party. In this scene, Romeo, Mercutio, and Benvolio talk about how they will hide themselves from their enemies, and how Romeo wants to see Rosaline very bad. Romeo sees Juliet from across the room and is anxious to find out who she is. My love, who is thy name?
Thy name is Juliet. Juliet and Romeo make their true love kiss. Tybalt is steamed to see Romeo at his family's feast, but Lord Capulet convinces him not to be so mad. Ibe?
Romeo could hear Benvolio and Mercutio talking about him in the distance while he was waiting for Juliet to be done talking to the nurse so he could see her on the balcony.
Romeo goes sees the friar to get about him and Juliet getting married. Later that morning, Mercutio and Benvolio wonder what happened to Romeo the previous night after he did not return home. The nurse goes to see Romeo and the friar about the marriage of Romeo and Juliet. Juliet is waiting for the good news from the nurse about the marriage. Tybalt encounters Benvolio, Mercutio, and Romeo about his duel.
This is when Romeo and Juliet get married with the friar and the nurse.
Tybalt and Mercutio begin to start their duel because Romeo didn't want to fight his own cousin. Romeo tries to stop the battle between Mercutio and Tybalt, but he gets Mercutio killed. Romeo gets Mercutio killed, and him and Benvolio try to go to his safety.
Romeo then avenges his friend Mercutio by defeating Tybalt and killing him. Both of the families and Benvolio go to the prince to understand what has happened, and they find out that Romeo will then be banished. After everything in the city has happened, Romeo goes and stays with the friar, and then learns that Juliet did not hate him from the nurse. Juliet then gets a potion from the friar to fake her death for 2 days so she does not have to marry Paris. And then Romeo can come and save her from the deathbed.
Romeo gets news from a servant in Verona that Juliet is dead and he has to get back. But he also buys a potion while he's out. Romeo goes back to see Juliet one last time and he finds Paris and ends him.
He then ends Paris and then goes into the deathbed where Juliet lay. He finds his love dead and then presumes to kill himself. As Romeo kills himself and dies, Juliet wakes up to find her love dead. She then kills herself.
The prince then punishes both families because of the death.